So Tulsi Gabbard is suing Hillary Clinton for defamation. As you guys remember, Hillary Clinton went on a podcast and basically insinuated that both Jill Stein and Tulsi Gabbard are agents of Russia. And she had no evidence of this. This is just the Russia hysteria. Wow. I mean, it's beyond a parody of itself at this point. It is neo-McCarthyism at its finest. Anyone who disagrees with you is a Russian. Anyone who disputes you on Twitter must be a Russian bot. Black Lives Matter was infiltrated by the Russians. DAPL was infiltrated by the Russians. A Green Party candidate who thinks that they have the right to democracy and the right to have an anti-war voice as an option for president, they must be infiltrated by Russia. Oh, and at one point they were sitting at a table with Putin. At one point, Putin was at the same table as them at a conference about the environment that Jill Stein went to on her own dime. That photo has been explained many times over. By the way, you can find photos of George Bush fishing with Putin. You can find photos of Hillary Clinton with Putin. But that's neither here nor there. So anyway, do we really need to rehash this at this point? How ridiculous the Russia hysteria has become at this point. And it's not going away. It'll never go away. It'll never, ever go away. I think there's even been some grumblings on Twitter that this whole thing is Russia has something to do with this. But anyway, let's get into the lawsuit itself, because she hinted that both Tulsi Gabbard and Jill Stein are Russian assets. Well, here's what Tulsi Gabbard had to say about it. There's Hillary. All right. Representative Tulsi Gabbard of Hawaii is suing Hillary Clinton for defamation over the former Secretary of State's remarks on a podcast characterizing the Democratic presidential candidate as a Russian asset. Gabbard filed the defamation lawsuit Wednesday in the U.S. District Court for the Southern District of New York. Gabbard's lawyers allege that Clinton's comments have smeared Gabbard's political and personal reputation. Tulsi Gabbard is a loyal American civil servant who has also dedicated her life to protecting the safety of all Americans. That's from Gabbard's lawyer, Brian Doon. Representative Gabbard's presidential campaign continues to gain momentum, but she has seen her political and personal reputation smeared and her candidacy intentionally damaged by Clinton's malicious and false remarks. Gabbard's campaign referred all questions to the lawyer. In response to the lawsuit, Clinton spokesman Nick Merrill said that's ridiculous. Now, here's an important piece here. Look, I would love nothing more than to see Hillary Clinton have to cut Tulsi Gabbard a fat check. I mean, come on. Who wouldn't? Well, I guess Hillary Clinton fans wouldn't, but, not a Hillary Clinton fan. But here's the thing, if we're just being real here. In a podcast released in October, Clinton said she thought Republicans were grooming a Democratic presidential candidate for a third-party bid. She also described the candidate as a favorite of the Russians. Clinton did not name the candidate, but it was clear she was speaking about Gabbard. Now, it was clear she was speaking about Gabbard. No one had any disputes about that. And Tulsi Gabbard responded. But here's the thing. Clinton did not name the candidate. Now, for a defamation lawsuit, you have to prove at the very least, in every case, you have to prove at the very least gross negligence, that this person was negligent and they repeated very faulty information that hurt somebody else. So negligence is pretty, all right. So first of all, the third party bid, Tulsi Gabbard has said repeatedly she was not going to run third party. She has a simple Google search can find that. She has said repeatedly she's not going to run third party. So that's absolutely ridiculous. The whole favorite of the Russians are helping her. There's absolutely no evidence of that whatsoever. There's no evidence of that whatsoever. Were there Russian bots that were posting stuff related to the 2016 election? Yeah, there were. Some of it wasn't even posted until after the election. Most of it had no political theme whatsoever. It was just kind of all over the place. And it was by this troll farm agency out in Russia that was just trying to spam people to get marketing information. There was no theme. Some of it was pro-Trump. Some of it wasn't. Some of it was a meme of Jesus saying he can help you stop masturbating. Some of it, a lot of it was in broken English. Some of it was seen by less than 300 people. It's comically ridiculous. And then on Google ads, they spent a total of $1,400 in the 2016 campaign. I mean, it doesn't even, I've made this analogy before. It's the Russia hysteria. It is like the establishment left. And notice, I'm not saying the left. I'm saying the establishment left. Two very different things. It's the Democratic establishment, the establishment left's version of voter fraud. Meaning, is it something that has never, ever occurred? I suppose it isn't. But is it some pressing issue that should be front and center? Absolutely not. Has voter fraud happened where somebody votes as somebody else? I'm sure it has. In the history of our country, I'm sure it has happened. Is it a bad thing? Yeah, it's not a good thing. But is it some huge pressing issue that should be front and center? No. And if you want to talk about election integrity, there's a million more important things going on. People getting purged from the voter rolls, active voter suppression, gerrymandering, the Electoral College, super delegates, faulty software that can be hacked by a 10-year-old. In Los Angeles, we're moving on with software that hasn't even been approved yet. It's been faulty in tests. They're going to use it anyway. Ranked choice voting should be the law of the land everywhere. There's a million more important things when it comes to election integrity than the fact that every great now and again voter fraud occurs. Same thing here. Did some Russian bots spread some ridiculous memes? Yeah. Does it happen every election cycle? Yeah, probably. Did it really affect somebody's vote? I can't imagine how it could. But I suppose there may be someone somewhere who saw, well, gee, now that I saw Rainbow Abs Bernie, my mind is made up. I suppose I can't say without a doubt that's never happened. But is this some front and center pressing issue? No, it's ridiculous. It's theater. It's a distraction from what's really going on. So anyway, again, so negligence, getting back to this, negligence, pretty easy to prove. At the very least, negligence. Now, here's the issue as far as this lawsuit. Now, keep in mind, this is coming from me. I'm a guy. I took a law class in college, so I'm an expert. I took a law class in college. It's not important how long ago it was. I took a law class, and the law class was copyright law, which has nothing to do with this. But I'm a bit of a hobbyist when it comes to looking into stuff in regards to the law. Again, underline hobbyist, not an expert, nowhere close. I was having a conversation with my cousin once who is an attorney. And I told him, I'm like, man, I kind of like this stuff a little bit. Maybe I should have been a lawyer. And he was like, Ron, you'd be one of those lawyers that would you'd be in debt for the rest of your life because you would never make any money. That was what he actually said to me. Because he's like, dude, you would refuse to do anything that compromised, any type of integrity you have. So you would just be one of those people out there defending nonprofits and defending the have-nots of society. And there's just no money in that, dude. He gave it to me straight, and he was probably right. But we'll never know because it's not going to happen. But anyway, so here's the thing. When it is a famous person or a public figure is what they use in the legal sense, a public figure, which of course Tulsi Gabbard is. She is a public figure. When it is a public figure, you also need to prove malicious intent, that they deliberately wanted to hurt this person. The fact that Clinton did not name the candidate, that's going to make that difficult to prove. That's really going to make that difficult in a court of law to prove. And I know, believe me, yeah, it's very obvious she was referring to Tulsi Gabbard. Nobody disputes that, and that is true. But the fact, even still, the fact that she didn't name her, that's going to make it difficult. So we'll see what happens here. But, I think actually winning. Now, this is drawing attention to something. So there's that element of it. It is drawing attention to this. But as far as winning, it's going to be an uphill battle because, and you're going up against the Clintons. They got a buck or two. they're going to have a pretty good legal defense going. So, I'm sure they have a lot more resources than Tulsi Gabbard does. So yeah, the fact that she didn't name it, even though it is so painfully obvious that, of course, she was referring to Tulsi Gabbard, the fact that she didn't name her, yeah, it's going to be an uphill battle trying to win this thing, but we'll see what happens. So that's happening. Tulsi Gabbard suing. It's interesting. So Hillary Clinton, she, Bernie Sanders issued that apology to Joe Biden. Not a very good political move. And then Hillary Clinton said all those horrible things about Bernie Sanders, and that got front and center. When Hillary Clinton said those things about Tulsi Gabbard, when Tulsi responded to it, it actually probably helped Tulsi Gabbard and made more people aware of who Tulsi Gabbard was when she responded to it, and she called Hillary Clinton Queen of the Warmongers, which was a very good move, especially because I think it took Hillary Clinton 2 weeks before she realized that wasn't a compliment. She just saw queen and was like, yeah, I am a queen, and then didn't read on. And like, of the warmongers, wait, is that good or bad? I'm not sure. Ask the focus group. Is that good? No, people are tired of war, Hillary, and your record on war is part of the reason why people didn't want to vote for you. Oh, darn. But yeah, when Tulsi struck back, it probably helped Tulsi Gabbard. And Hillary, when she went on when she went on the attack on Bernie, which now, by the way, she's having to backtrack some of that because even other Democrats in her circle were ticked off about it. So Hillary unintentionally has helped in a few situations. She's unintentionally helped. And now it's back on message. Bernie is back on message saying, hey, guess what, Joe? Here's your record on Social Security. He tweeted today. He's like, don't take my word for it, Joe. Take yours. And he has footage of Joe Biden calling for cuts to Social Security. It's back on message now. Thanks in part to Hillary Clinton hijacking the newsfear by smearing Bernie Sanders. Similarly, now Tulsi is getting a little more momentum here, getting some attention to her campaign. What I'm getting at, we've never seen Andy Kaufman and Hillary Clinton in the same room. Or have we? Do we know for sure? Do we know for sure that they're not one and the same? I mean, Andy Kaufman could have faked his death. It'd be the ultimate prank. And if ever there was someone, he could be. I mean, at first I was like, well, maybe he's Trump, but that'd be a little too obvious. What if he's Hillary? What if, and I've said this and I stand by it, that there is no way, if Andy Kaufman were still alive, or if he is, he would be taking notes on Hillary Clinton. He'd be like, I mean, this is a guy who built a career around being disliked, around trying to get people to hate him and using the audience as his palette. That's what Andy Kaufman did. And Hillary Clinton, I think, is better at it than he is, unintentionally. Her job is to do the opposite. When you're a politician, you want people to like you. Every time she opens her mouth, people like her less. Joe Biden has the same problem. And all of a sudden, Hillary Clinton comes in at these times that actually hijack a conversation and then redirect it in a better direction. Do we know she's not Andy Kaufman? Now, have we seen them in the same room? I don't know. Just not trying to start a conspiracy theory. I mean, I'm just saying we don't know for sure. We don't know for sure that she is not Andy Kaufman. I mean, stranger things have been put forth. Stranger Things, which, by the way, I enjoy that show. I'm looking forward to the next season. All right, so we'll keep an eye on this lawsuit. And there you go.
Get your news on with Ron. Don't you want to know what's going on? We're getting our news on today. Get your news on with Ron. Don't you want to know what's going on? We're getting our news on today. You can tweet me an article at Ron Placone. We'll go through it together and make it our own. Get your